I'm fantastic.
Good.
How are you?
Good.
Good.
I really appreciate you coming back to the My WHIM Life show, where we are sharing wisdom, humor, inspiration, and motivation with other entrepreneurs and people that are doing awesome things in this world. Just got to share the goodness with more than one person at a time. That's the goal. So tell me a little bit more about who Carlie is as a personal trainer and what kind of help you have to offer other people.
Who I am as a personal trainer has definitely evolved over the years. I've been training full-time now for almost 9 years, which is pretty crazy. We were looking at one of my first appointment books when you were in the other day. Like old school, like paper
right.
appointment book. And it's definitely evolved from just working out to being focused on overall wellness. Because through my own healing and then through seeing so many clients over the years, I realized that that physical piece needs to be there for sure, but there's so many other aspects of that. It all coincides, right? That mental, the physical, emotional, spiritual. So the focus has been a lot on nutrition, a lot on supplementation if needed.
Sure. Hormones. I know that's something we've talked a lot about.
Yeah, hormones play huge into that for a lot of my clients. So
obviously, not only has your business changed, but the climate has changed that we are living in today, and we've got, COVID going on and all different protocols. You had just recently opened up a new gym at the beginning of all of this.
Yeah.
How has that really affected your business, or how do you do things differently?
Wow, that was so crazy to think that I opened in October of 2019. Had my grand opening in December of that year, and then the pandemic hit and we had the lockdown in March. And when I think about it now, I never thought I'm not going to make it. I just kept showing up every day. So it changed the business in that aspect, in that I wasn't seeing people in person for a while. I was doing live workouts online for my clients or anyone. I just did them on Heart and Core Training Studio's Facebook page every morning live, like anyone who wants to work out, because I knew how important that was. I knew this is huge for people to stay healthy, is to work out. And it also was huge for me to stay connected and to keep showing up for my clients. And then when we opened up, we've just, limited our numbers, which were private anyway, but limiting our class numbers and cleaning more so than we cleaned before, which, we disinfect after all of our clients anyway and do deep cleaning on the gym when it's needed. And so that hasn't changed too much for us, but it definitely has brought a lot of awareness for a lot of my clients in them kind of taking more control over their health.
Yeah. I know that for a lot of people, that not being able to go to the gym was a deal breaker for a lot of people. They either didn't know how, or they didn't know what they should do, or there was so many,
because I just wanted to call bullshit.
Right.
But that's why I showed up and did the live workout, because it's you don't have to have a gym, right?
Yeah.
And as a gym owner, that feels really okay, I mean, of course I want you to come and work out, but you don't have to have this. I want to give you the tools so that you can do it on your own. I mean, that's been an overarching goal of mine in all aspects. I never want to be the person that doesn't tell you why, right? Oh, just eat this just because I say so. Right. No, it's teaching you so that you have control, so that you can do it on your own. It doesn't matter where you're at.
Right. And nutrition and supplements are something that they can easily do at home, even if they weren't necessarily moving in the way that they are used to. Obviously, there's lots of options to keep your body moving, but if that is where you feel like you're lacking, the nutrition and supplementation is an easy thing to do from home.
I love that you see it that way. When people are talking about the things that they can't do, if someone goes through a surgery or something like that, or an injury, and it keeps them from working out. Well, I just can't work out, so I gained a bunch of weight. And I'm like, well, what about all the stuff that you can do?
Yeah.
Right? You have control of your nutrition.
Absolutely.
You have control of all the other aspects. So
yeah. We could absolutely go down a rabbit hole and talk about what supplements do you think, and what how does that hormone go? But I think for each person it's definitely so different, and that's something that you are really good at talking through with people, depending on what their norm is and what is important to them, what their goals are. I think there's a lot of variation in that, and you kind of almost end up being not just their physical trainer, but their nutrition go-to person, and talk about hormones and supplements and all of the different idiosyncrasies that come with that, whether they're training for a competition or whether they're just trying to get healthy. And I'm sure that there's emotional stuff that comes in with it. I know there is, because it comes in for me every time I come in.
All emotional,
Yeah.
for sure. That's how we're driven, is by our emotion and by our mental. What's our brain telling us? What are we thinking? When you're talking about hormones and nutrition, I'm going to say this. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
I just play one on TV. I always have to throw in that fun little joking line, but I have done years and years of research and applied science on myself and hundreds of clients to really understand that what you put in your body is the most important thing. Right. Your brain tells your gut what to do, and your gut tells your brain what to do. And that's where it all starts. So people just need to take control. And I know that sounds like, oh, that's huge, but one little thing at a time.
Yeah, it's one decision. You can't eat all 3 meals at one sit down. You make a decision, you can. That doesn't count. But I mean, for the most part, people have to just decide what to eat for this one meal.
Yeah.
That's one decision, and then you move on to the next.
And that can feel huge. The changes can feel huge for some people, depending on where they come from, what their background is, what they've been shown, taught. I mean, even if we look what we were taught in elementary school, the food pyramid. We just were talking about this yesterday.
And how, crazy.
I mean, but I don't even know when. That's something I haven't looked up. When was the food pyramid created? And it's absolute crap. We were talking about BMI. And according to the BMI, I'm overweight, but that was created in like 1820. I could go completely off, like you said, down a rabbit hole, but it does just start with one choice. And what it starts with really, and this is where the mental piece comes in, is taking your power back. And instead of giving yourself even a bullshit excuse or a reason as to why you can't, it's thinking about what you can do and really taking control.
Right. So what are some of those, what do those conversations look like when you have a brand new client that comes in and they're like, I don't even know where to start. Like, I know I need to make different choices. I know I want to be healthier. What do I do first? Because I think that's an overwhelming place to be.
Yeah, it can be, for sure. It's really individualized on what a certain person needs to do first. And because it is overwhelming, I like to start small. So it really just depends. It can be something as little as drinking water, something as little as eating more. And people always are like, wait, like, I don't know. Yes, you do. It's okay. Yeah. Like, if you're getting up in the morning and you're just drinking coffee and you're not eating anything until who knows when, oh my gosh, I forgot to eat all day because I had all of these meetings. And so you have some crap snack or whatever, and then you eat dinner. Yeah, that's going to probably end up leading to, I don't like to use the word binging, but it can lead to like some overeating on the weekend when you're not as busy because you're hungry because you haven't eaten enough. And so it can just be as little as that. Like, okay, I want you to eat a couple more meals. Make sure that you plan some breakfast. What do you want me to eat?
Right.
Well, let's, we can talk about that, because that also can lead into some either big changes or just some knowledge needing to be imparted on removing things like good and bad and healthy and unhealthy.
Yes,
from
those
the
words
vocabulary.
are such triggers for so many people. I think it's so important that those myths or those, understandings of how those words can and shouldn't be used, when you're talking about yourself. It's just super important.
Yeah, I mean, food is food. It's all energy, it's all calories. And so then it's just understanding kind of how you want to fuel your body. And yeah, there's going to be better choices than some. Like, look, I'm sitting here drinking a Reign, and this isn't good for me, quote unquote. It's got chemicals and different things in it, but that's a choice that I make. It's kind of like if you want to eat Cheetos or donuts, right? That's not inherently bad for you. Right. That's not what brought you to this place. So it's just understanding that. And so it just starts with that conversation with someone, because sometimes when they think that they're eating bad, it's going to bring shame, and that's going to start that cycle. Like you said, the word trigger. I mean, that really can be hard for a lot of people when they're looking to make a change, when they're looking to get healthier.
Yeah. So if you have someone that have some of those trigger words in place that or a triggering number on the scale, what are some of those conversations? Because I know the counseling piece of it, or the coaching piece of it is so important when it's just one-on-one conversation.
Yeah, and really that just comes for me so intuitively when I'm with a client, but it would probably go something like, just depending on that person, as not weighing not weighing yourself, not worrying about what the number on the scale is, talking about what your value is and what the focuses are, those non-scale victories. If the goal is to drink more water, like we just talked about, if that's one of the small things we're working on, that's what we're focused on. Because as you focus on those little things, then the scale will change, right? I don't remember what the other part of the question was that you asked me, because that scale thing is huge.
Right.
It's so huge for clients, especially in the industry that I'm in, because yes, you can be a personal trainer and you can train someone and have them work out. When you're doing specifically weight training and people are gaining muscle mass, there may not be a huge differential on the scale.
Yeah, or it could even go up
even go up for some people. And that can be this huge issue, mainly for women. I see women who feel like they need to weigh the exact same that they weighed before they got pregnant or when they were in high school, and really trying to wrap their heads around the fact that that's kind of what brought you to this place.
Yeah.
And I can think back in high school and be like, I didn't eat breakfast and I had a Reese's peanut butter cup and a Coke at break, and I had maybe a piece of pizza or bagel bakery at lunch, and then I ate dinner. Like, I didn't eat a lot of whole nutrient dense foods.
Sure.
I wasn't muscular. So the scale can be this huge thing to overcome.
Absolutely. I think it is I just almost wish we could eliminate it altogether, so that it was never a thing for so many people, because it is such a huge trigger. I've definitely experienced that, but I've also come to terms with some things on my own that have really made the difference for me. Like, yes, I weigh myself occasionally, like every maybe month.
Just if we're doing a check-in.
Yeah, to see if I'm, that I'm not completely, blowing it. But for the most part, it just isn't the important thing. I think about, how do I fit in my clothes? What are some of the measurements that I have, or how much can I lift in different different scenarios. So those are things that I think just take time, and someone to counsel them through that journey to see, because you almost have to experience the change through that,
Yes.
rather than than just someone telling you what's important or what will make a difference for them. You have to really see it for yourself.
Yeah, it's really interesting when I have a client who's doing a check-in for the first time. So I usually do that in between 2 to 4 weeks after we've started, just depending on that progression, where they were at, what their ability was, if they were counting macros, if they were following a meal plan, that kind of stuff, right? Those variables. And we'll do the check-in, and the first piece is they go and change, and while they're in that bathroom and they change, then they weigh themselves. Yeah. And they'll come back in like, I weighed the same, or I only lost 2 pounds. And I'm like, okay, that's great. That's just information.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's only information for me, because now what we're going to see is where that differential is in that body composition and how you have added muscle and lost fat, and you may just weigh the same.
Yeah.
Right? And that old saying, muscle weighs more than fat, I would really love people to stop saying it that way, because it's absolutely impossible. That's like 5 pounds of bricks and 5 pounds of feathers.
Right.
Which one weighs more?
Right.
They both weigh 5 pounds. It just takes a shit ton more feathers to make up that weight.
Yeah.
I always say we want to be a brick house.
Right.
Right? We want to be
Absolutely.
solid. So muscle is denser than fat. So you can weigh 160 pounds and you can bust your ass in the gym and eat macros for your body, for the nutrients that you need. And you can come back in 2 to 3 weeks and weigh 160 pounds again, but you could have gained 3 pounds of lean mass, not meaning that you actually, for any of people who are going to be like, you can't gain 3 pounds of muscle, holding more energy in those cells because you're actually lifting and you're eating the nutrients that your body needs, right? And then you've lost fat, so you've changed that composition, so you've lost some body fat percentage, and then you see that light bulb go off for people when they see that, they're like, oh my gosh. And you can see it in pictures, and the inches go down. And that's where the scale is not your only measure of progress.
Right.
If it's what you have at home and what you're using, you can gauge it a little bit by the scale, sometimes, right?
Right.
Just depending on the individual, again. How
Right.
much do you have to lose? What are your goals? What are you trying to do? But I would really recommend, if you're on a journey of a fitness journey yourself, to do inches measurements, get a measuring tape from Walmart, Walgreens, wherever, and take your circumference measurements.
Right.
And take those. That's going to show you that differential. That's going to show you the compositional change, that you're adding muscle.
Yeah.
And take pictures.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please take pictures.
Yeah.
It can feel really hard and vulnerable when you're in that starting place or when you're feeling down. But I will tell you what, I have had so many people tell me, I really wish I would have taken pictures, or I would have let you take pictures, because I don't force anyone.
Sure.
I just tell them, this is for you. But so many people are like, I'm so glad I took pictures and that I can see that difference.
Yeah.
So the number on the scale does not matter.
Right. I absolutely 100% agree with that, for sure. Learned behavior, though. Definitely a learned behavior.
For you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. So I know that you definitely take your clients on a journey, but your business has been on quite the journey over the last couple of years as well. Mm-hmm. You've gone from really being a single solo trainer to now you've got a whole team of people. Tell me about that.
Yay! And I'm so happy and so grateful. One of the trainers on my team has been with me for 4 years now. Selena has been, which is so incredible. And she started as a client and then started working with me. And it just feels incredible to be able to not only help these women to pursue their purpose in helping others, but to be able to help more people. Because I can only train so many people. And it's really nice to have this team of women that are like-minded, that feel the same way that I do about nutrition and overall health and wellness. And of course, they all have their own personality and their own spin and their own strengths. And it's nice. It's nice to have that. It's grown from Selena and I in the last year to now I have 2 other trainers, and then I have another one that's going to be coming on pretty soon.
And Anna.
That's Anna.
Oh,
Oh, and my assistant. Is now going to be training also.
Because we all know you cannot scale a business by yourself. Like, it's impossible. You have to have other people that help you along the way. And the administrative help I have learned from starting to scale my business is fantastic. Things that you thought were impossible just because of time limits certainly all of a sudden become possible. And it's incredible feeling to be able to do more and be more and grow and, take on things that you would never have because there just wasn't ever enough time in the day.
And it still feels like, it's like there's not enough time. Like, as I'm scaling it and as things are happening, it's like, oh, and now more all of a sudden, which is pretty awesome. And Anna and I just had our 1-year anniversary. There was cookies and donuts at the gym, people. Fit donuts, by the way.
But crumble cookies.
Crumble cookies. Those split in quarters really, really well. And when you have a quarter,
it's okay.
That's
it's
good.
Doable.
It's okay.
It's doable.
Yeah, I had like 2 or 3
I had
quarters.
1.
But we think alike. She and I do. So it's been pretty awesome to watch her growth, to watch Selena's growth. Madeline just came in and she went on an incredible transformation journey on her own and has decided that that's where her heart is. And she's started training clients and she has a boot camp. And I love when I go into that gym and the energy is so incredible because people are there to change their lives and they're open-minded and they're working hard and it just feels so awesome.
So as a leader that was do it all myself kind of a person moving into that next phase, what was moving into I have to delegate some of this stuff? How did that feel? What did that look like?
Hard.
It's so hard.
Scary. Thank goodness I have you. You and Jillian have helped me so much to understand that it's okay. It's okay to delegate and let other people do it. And also knowing that done is better than not done. And done is better than perfect. And not that, I guess I don't really like that word perfect because I guess for me, done and having somebody else do it is better than it not being done. Because sometimes that's what was happening because I didn't understand how to do everything and delegate. And my brain even says, like, it's just going to take me too long to teach them, I'll just do it myself. And then I would never get anywhere. Then I would never have more time to be able to do all of the things that are on my heart.
Absolutely. And I know that there is a ton more coming because we talk all the time. There's more goodness on the way. So we will definitely have to keep up on your journey and talk about things as they roll out, just like all the rest of us. We're all in that constant transition. I think that's one thing that a lot of people have a hard time with. They think that there's a destination in entrepreneurship, and there is none. It is all about the journey, 100%. And you have to be able to enjoy the pieces and parts. There's always a goal you want to reach, that you will celebrate, and it's important to celebrate those wins. But there's always going to be a new goal. I think that's the best part of being an entrepreneur to me.
Yes. And I think that's human nature.
Yeah.
Really. It's interesting to me when people are like, oh, I just really don't like change. And the human brain is wired for change and growth, and it thrives in that. And so even when I don't know that I have another goal,
Yeah.
my brain already knows that there's another goal, that there's something else that it's just going to keep building.
Exactly. So one more question, which is always my last question.
Oh gosh.
How do you give back?
Ooh. When you say, how do I give back? What just came up for me was I give back with my heart. Yeah, it's not like I have to make a list of the things that I do to be validated.
Yeah.
I feel like I give back by just showing up, by being present, and by listening. And that's what I ask for with my clients and my friends and people that I'm in relationships with, is that they do the same, and that's how I give back.
Yeah. I think what comes up for me, just because I do know you so well personally, and something that may not, you may not see as giving back, but being that person that others who are in the process of or have just recently gotten sober, being able to be that voice to say, I know what that feels like. I know where you've been. I've been right where you are. And having that open conversation is really powerful.
Thank you. Yeah, that feels like a really big piece that I can give back to others, because when you feel seen and you feel like, oh, somebody else has been through this and it's possible, then you know that you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely want to, because once we were talking about scaling, that's really what is there. The biggest dream, one of your questions was, what's my biggest dream? And I said, I'm living it. But my biggest dream is that as I continue to manifest what needs to happen in the business so that I can help as many people as possible, that it gives me time to go and help others that are struggling in the way that I was struggling, whether that's in prisons, women's prisons, that's what comes to mind, recovery centers. I've spoken in schools. That's really where I want to be.
Yeah. It's where you're going.
Yeah.
I can already see you there.
Thanks, friend.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the My WHIM Life show today. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a moment of the goodness.